Welcome to Fairfax County's EnviroPod. I'm Scott Coco. This is the show where we talk about everything environment here in Fairfax County, and especially what the folks from our Department of Public Works and Environmental Services do to protect, maintain, repair, and improve our lives. Today I have with me Stacy Smalls, Director of the Wastewater Collections Division of DPWES, and we're going to talk about where our wastewater goes and what not to flush. Welcome, Stacy.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Scott.
So I know everybody's home and everybody's flushing a lot more than they were before. So it's causing some issues, and we want to remind people what to do. But before we get into that, tell me about what your job is and what you do here with the county.
So the county, the wastewater management program is not just the pipes that's in the ground, but it's also the wastewater treatment plant. I'm over the conveyance system, which is those pipes that's in the ground that you don't see, those pump stations that's in the low-lying areas that you may not see, that's in the probably back of properties, and the force main that the pump stations will then send wastewater to, and the manholes that you see in the streets as well. So it's the conveyance system that takes the wastewater from your home to the wastewater treatment facilities.
So I often like to learn a little bit about the folks that come in. So how long have you been with the county?
February made 4 years. So before that, I retired from the military, from the Air Force. Worked in the equivalent of public works with the Air Force for 11 years. Before that, I was in the private field, but still serving my country in the National Guard in the medical field. So engineered during the day and during the month, and then the one weekend of the month I was doing medical stuff. I did that for about 13 years before going into the Air Force full-time as a public works officer, what we call the civil engineer career field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that kind of like Army Corps engineers? And
Army
civil?
Corps engineers, yes. We do everything that's required to support the facility. So if you think about your bases and your installations, they're like small cities, and they need their roads repaired, their facilities maintained, their infrastructure maintained, and that's what the civil engineers, the Corps engineers, that public work aspect, what we did for our military installations.
And what bases did you work at?
The last base that I served at was Joint Base Lewis McChord in Tacoma, Washington. Before that, I had a stint in Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam in Hawaii.
Wow.
And before that, then, my first base was in Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Where are you from originally?
South Carolina.
Okay.
So, next to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and then how did you get into the facilities, the wastewater and the engineering on that side?
So I was coming up to my retirement, and at that point in time, I was looking for that next career challenge, and I came across the opportunity with Fairfax County, applied, and it fell along the lines of, like I described, what we do and in the engineering career field in the Air Force, sustaining the bases. And so I applied, and fortunately, I got the position 4 years ago.
Well, great. And we always like finding out all the people that serve here in the county, their backgrounds. Everyone comes from such diverse areas to come, and really appreciate people that are service-oriented, and certainly your career certainly shows that. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Scott.
So we're here today to remind some folks about what they're putting down, drains, toilets especially, and why are we talking about this now, and why are we reminding folks of some of these rules that we're going to discuss?
Well, given the times that we're in right now, we don't want to add to it with backups or sanitary sewer overflows. It's just going to add to the health concerns that we have. There are bad things that reside in wastewater. And if you have a backup in your home, that's just adding to to the different concerns that you had, that you're having with COVID-19 and being self-quarantined or staying at home to protect yourself, doing the socially distancing that we're doing. And to add a backup in your home when you have the additional odors or the additional health concerns from wastewater in your home. We're trying to prevent that. This is our wastewater system, the county's wastewater system, and we need everybody's help. It's the spirit of what we're going through right now, working together, everybody chipping in, and we need everybody's help to make sure that we're keeping our wastewater system functioning properly.
So what are some of the issues we're running into? People are flushing the wrong things.
Yes.
And so what are some of these things that are being flushed, and what are the repercussions?
So let's just try to keep it simple and say, let's only put two things into our toilets, into our wastewater system. Besides our showers and our dishwashers and our washing machines, human waste and toilet tissue. Anything else should be put into our trash. People are flushing wipes, floss, given the times that we're in the disinfecting wipes. People are flushing those things. And so, fats, oils, and grease. The people are pouring that down their drains
Really?
as well. Yes. It's that thought of, I'm turning the hot water on and I can pour this grease down my drain and it'll be okay. But, eventually down the wastewater system, down the pipes, it'll get to a temperature to where it can start solidifying again and cause blockages. So let's just keep tissue and human waste.
They haven't been listening to this show.
We need to listen to this show. Exactly.
Where we talk about that all the time.
Exactly.
So what do, now advertisers, they're talking about Clorox wipes all the time. They're talking about baby wipes, and they're even advertised as flushable.
Yes.
And I don't know where they get that designation, but what are these wipes doing to the system?
Okay, so first let's address the flushable. A golf ball is flushable, so technically it is.
Have toddlers around, and
Yes.
you'll find whatever is
Legos
not
or
flushable,
anything,
right?
marbles, anything they can put down a toilet. Yes, those things are flushable, but should it be put into the toilet? That's the question. Wipes are made of a pretty durable material. It's designed to be durable so that when you're using it, it doesn't break up in your hand when you're trying to wipe up or clean things. And when it gets into our sewer system, those durable materials, they latch on to things, whether it's debris or roots or whatever that's in our sewer system, and they begin to group together and cause a blockage. And that could then cause a sanitary sewer overflow or back up into residents' homes, and we don't want that. So think of toilet paper, and you can experiment you can do at home is you can get 2 containers full of water, and you can put toilet tissue in one, and you can put a wipe in the other. The toilet tissue will degrade and disintegrate, but that wipe won't. And we're getting problems with that at our pump stations, again, like blockages in our sewer lines, and it's a havoc that someone has to go out and clean and clear, and not be used to do our other preventative maintenance within the system to keep our system operating at optimal level. Just if we could just work together to keep those items out of our sewer system, it would be the best.
So what are some of the costs? What are some of the costs that, and you mentioned having people deployed out, but whether it's damage or people out having to go out to fix clogs and whatever, what are some of the costs that are involved when all this happens?
Well, there's the cost to the homeowner, because if there's a backup, that cleaning may fall on the responsibility of the homeowner to take care of. And again, during the season, we just want to keep additional ailments or issues just if we can avoid that and make this time that we're all in our homes a lot better, then why not avoid that? Of course, there's the repair costs that we would have to do if we had to make a repair within our sewer system. But then those costs doesn't just stay within the home. If there's a blockage in the building sewer or the lateral that is owned by the homeowner, that's the sewer line that runs from their residence to the sewer in the street, that is the homeowner's responsibility to repair. So if there's a blockage in that, a break in that, any type of issue caused by wipes causing a blockage, to having to call a plumber out, to having to do some construction. I just got an email from a resident that was asking about a bill that they received in the thousands that they had to repair. These things can add up quickly, and we're trying to avoid these additional costs that our residents that could incur from wipes and other items that's not supposed to be in our sewer system.
And some of that money is also not necessarily covered in homeowners insurance and stuff like that, possibly.
Well, we would recommend that homeowners would reach out to their home insurer, check their policies, reach out to their homeowner insurers and find out if that is in it. If they seek that additional protection, then they should talk to their home insurer about that. But that would fall upon the homeowner.
Sure. It doesn't come back on the county. And it's just gross. It's nasty when that backs up. Not sanitary, certainly in a time when we're trying to do everything, even hyper sanitary. I don't know if that's an actual word, but
well, I mean, if you've looked at some of the different stories in the past about some of the different third world nations that have had issues with cholera or dysentery, and that's from having a poor sanitary system, and that reaching some of their waterways, their drinking water, and it causing issues with that population. We're trying to avoid all of that given the circumstances we're in right now. So let's keep these items out of our sewer system. Let's avoid any of these additional mishaps that may occur.
So if a mishap does occur, what should someone do? What are the first steps they should take?
Okay, so if sewer is coming up into their home, they should call us. So we have a 24/7 trouble response center. That number is 703-323-1211. It's manned 24/7, 365 days a year. We will respond to see if there's anything going on with the county sewer that could be contributing to that. Then the homeowner should then call their home insurer to see if they have some sort of protections to help with cleaning and everything. But those should be the two calls that they make. We want to try to get out as soon as possible to try to see if there's anything that we can do. We have a packet that we've coordinated with risk management to ensure that our residents are informed as to what they should be looking for, what they should be doing if they have a home backup, and then getting in contact with their home insurer.
And what if we're one of the residents that may have a septic system? I know septic systems are dealt with the health department a lot, but what about in case of that?
So you're correct. That's managed by the health department, but it is a sewer system. And so I would advise our residents to treat it like how I'm asking them to treat our sewer systems. Just try to keep those items out, try to keep the floss out, try to keep the wipes out, try to keep the other products out. Don't treat your sewer system as a trash can. And just any additional information, I would say to reach out to the health department.
But cotton swabs are okay.
No, cotton swab's not okay. If it's not human waste or toilet tissue.
Right.
Yes.
So what is stuff like harder items like that? Cotton swabs, dental floss. What does that do to gum up the system?
So not only like I mentioned earlier, it can get hung up with branches or debris inside of the sewer pipes, but it also causes havoc in our pump stations. So we have bar screens and we have grinders that try to grind those things up before they reach our pumps. But if they get in our pumps and clog them up, then our people have to go out and repair them. And keep in mind, our pump stations are in low-lying areas, because if you look at the sewer system, or you think about the sewer system, it's flowed by gravity to our lowest points.
The stuff flows downhill, as
The
they say,
stuff
right?
flows downhill. That's very good. And when it goes downhill, it reaches a pump station, which will then pump it back up to a higher point to then go back gravity until it makes it to a wastewater treatment facility. In those low-lying areas, if you have a backup, because we're putting some of these different items in there, having a backup at a pump station isn't good because it's in a low-lying area. And what else is in our low-lying areas? We have our water bodies, our wetlands, and we share those areas.
Right,
those
the
low-lying
bay,
areas.
you're right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we want to try to keep those blockages from occurring as well. So everyone chip in.
And this isn't just a county issue. This is it's a regional issue, state. I mean, it's everywhere that these are problems, correct?
Absolutely. Wastewater treatment infrastructure is experiencing this all over the country and all over the world. Everyone use wipes across the country and across the world, and people flush them here and people flush them there. We're not immune to that, but we want to try to reach out to our residents and inform them so that they can help and chip in to help us keep our infrastructure operating as best as we can.
And how about some other, just people ask, they knew where we were going to talk about this, but, the difference between a Kleenex, a nasal tissue, and toilet paper or a paper towel, it's all on how it dissolves, correct? What are
Yes.
some of the differences?
Well, like a wipe is made out of a polyester material. I mean,
Oh, wow.
That's sort of like your clothing.
Right.
It's designed to be durable. So if you look at some of the different material, like paper towels, designed to be durable.
Absorbent, right? Where the
Absorbent.
bounty, yeah.
Exactly. And
The
so
quicker picker up.
the quicker picker upper that's very absorbent, it would cause havoc in our sewer system. I mean, they're designed to be able to wipe up spills or messes and to keep its shape and its integrity. And that's counterproductive to our sewer system. We want it to degrade. If you think of a lazy river, and you're sitting in it and you're moving at a slow pace, you're similar to our system where gravity is moving that flow down at a slow pace. It's not really churning and causing a lot of disturbance to where things would twist and toss and disintegrate. And having those items, paper towels or the different wipes, those things would cause havoc to where they would group up together, clump together, and cause these blockages. Whereas tissue would dissolve. And having those things clog up our pump stations, and clogging up our pumps at those stations is just causing the same amount of havoc in our system. So it's just best to keep it out.
Right. Only two things.
Just two things.
Legos and, no, waste and toilet paper, that's
Waste
it.
and toilet
and
paper.
water.
And water.
Okay.
Yes.
So where can folks go to get more information to make sure they understand these two things?
Well, there's plenty of information out on our Public Works and Environmental Services website. You can click on the wastewater management site underneath that, and you can get all the information you want that's there. There's plenty of flyers, there's plenty of news items, there's plenty of information on our sewer system and on the wastewater treatment plant. People can get as much information as they would need or want from there. So I would recommend people go to that site as much as possible, especially during these times. You're at home, so you've got plenty of time to read. So go out to our sites, check it out, and get some good information on your wastewater
Lots
system.
of time to click all around, right?
Click all
Right,
around,
right.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
And I guess we also will remind people, and we did an entire episode on this, not to flush unwanted and unused medication down the drains also.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes. So we're looking at, so what I just addressed was the integrity of the sewer system, the pipes, the pumps, and the wastewater treatment facility. But these medications aren't easily removed from the wastewater. And once the wastewater is cleaned at the wastewater treatment facility, it's released back into our waterways. And there it causes havoc to our aquatic life. Sanitary sewer overflows can also then, if we have a spill that releases into our streets, could also make its way to our aquatic life. And we want to protect that as well. We're on an environmental podcast for a reason, because we care about these things. And so not only we want to ensure that we keep the integrity of the system, the pipes and the pumps, but we want to protect our environment as well. And medications, those things cause havoc to our aquatic life. Keep that out of our
That's right.
sewer
We
system.
did a whole show on it. You can go back and listen to all of the On Fire Pod shows, and that was one of the topics that we had. So, Stacy, thank you so much for coming down. I know with all the stuff going on, you guys are probably running around crazy with everything that's happening. Us folks here at Channel 16 and all the folks at all the public affairs offices are doing the same. Thanks to all your employees and the county employees that do what they do for the environment. But that's it for this episode of Fairfax County EnviroPod. If you want to hear more, like I said, you can go on to fairfaxcounty.gov/podcast. Of course, the DPWES website, where there's a lot more information about what we talk about. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, and this podcast will be on Channel 16 and on Channel 16's Video On Demand page. If you have any questions, comments, or an idea for a topic to be discussed on EnviroPod, you can email swpdmail@fairfaxcounty.gov or call 703-324-5821. And so once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to my good friend Irene for making all of this happen. So thank you, Irene. And thanks to the crew here at Channel 16 for making all this happen. We've been having to change a lot of our procedures around to keep social distancing, and inside that audio booth is a little tight. So our great crew here and engineers here made sure that we're able to get all this stuff on air. So we appreciate everything that they do. So that's it for this episode of EnviroPod. I'm Scott Coco. We'll see you next time.